The starting gun has been fired and Israel's elections campaign is on. That vote penciled in for the 9th of April 2019 after ministers passed a bill dissolving the Knesset, which itself will vote on dissolving itself tomorrow. Netanyahu is asking for a fresh mandate and a fourth consecutive term. The Zionist Union and Yesh Atid are both vowing to unseat him, but all that as Netanyahu prepares for a possible criminal indictment in the middle of campaigning. And former military chief Benny Gantz wants to enter politics and shake everything up. Here in the studio we have our diplomatic correspondent Eli Hohenberg, but first let's go to the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, to our diplomatic correspondent Mike Wagenheim. And Mike, members of the Knesset now preparing to dissolve the Knesset, give up their jobs and put them back in the hands of the public.
Yeah, it seems like it's a far away, but it's really not just 3 months or so to go until April 9th. Much work to be done here over the next few days within the Israeli parliament before it's officially dissolved a week from today. Many parties will hold their primaries, but everybody is basically in election mode as we speak right now. We're joined here in the parliament by Oded Fora, a member of the Yisrael Beitenu party. Mr. Fora, it was your party and your leader, Avigdor Lieberman, the former defense minister, sort of got the ball rolling with his resignation and the move into the opposition. Ideologically, he's comfortable with his decision. Politically, though, was it the right decision for your party?
I think that the main question is ideologically and not politically, because we are not in politics in order to promote our political agenda. It's to promote our agenda, the agenda that the voters sent us to the Knesset for. And I think that after the agreement that the government of Israel agreed to give Hamas $90 million in cash money for 6 months, every month $15 million, 30 million already have given. We've given to Hamas. $15 million will give in January. I think that this is an absurd. We couldn't live inside a government that does such action. We want to be in a right-wing government. We want to be partners in a right-wing government. Of course, we want also to hold the Ministry of Defense. It's an important ministry, but in order to promote our agenda, not in order to sit there and to enjoy all the things that you get as a minister or as a partner in the coalition. And I think that that's the main issue. And I'm happy that now this government is collapsing, because maybe it'll stop the next agreement for another 6 months of payment to a terrorist organization in cash money.
And yet the polls say, for the most part, we're going to wind up with the same government we had before. So if your Yisrael Beitenu party is able to make its way into what should be a right-wing government once again, according to the polling, what really changes? Aren't we going to be back in the same situation?
I can't say what's going to be in 3 months from now. But, you know, polls are very good in order so we'll have something to speak about, and we can say what the polls say about what's going to be now. I don't know what's going to be in the election days in 3 months from now. We need to remember last elections, people said that Israel Beitenu won't be a part of the Knesset, and of course we got 6 seats in the parliament, and we hope to get even more in the next election. I think as our perspective, as we see it now, we're going to get between 9 and 11 seats in the Knesset. And that's because the polls that you see now is about the things that happen now, and it's about it's polls that are done by internet. Not all our voters are in the internet. Many of them just, you need to do the poll differently. And we need to remember, if we ask the polls, so Hillary Clinton is the president of the United States, Bougie Herzog was supposed to be the Prime Minister of Israel. I rather elections than polls.
The next few days should be interesting here as the opposition and the coalition may be able to agree on a few certain items before the parliament is dissolved. Of course, your party, even though it's in the opposition, still ideologically on a lot of things agrees with the coalition. What's left to pass at this point? Anything of note?
I think that the important thing is legislation that I promoted for the last few weeks, and we're going to vote on today, this afternoon, in the third reading, is the legislation that will prevent prisoners that are terrorists to release early. I don't want an early release that is given to any prisoner if he behaves well, to give him to terrorists, because terrorists, it's a crime of agenda. It's a crime against the society. It's not a crime, a criminal crime that you do privately. It's a crime against society, and you can't rehabilitate terrorists. So we're going to prevent murderers and people that try to do murder in terrorist consequences. The ability to release early, it's an important legislation. I hope that we're going to pass it this afternoon, and I think that's going to be a very good end to this Knesset and to go to election.
Oded Fohr from the Israel Beitenu Party joining us here in the waning days of this session of the Israeli Parliament. Back to you in the studio, Elan.
Okay, Mike Wagenheim bringing us updates there as the Knesset prepares to dissolve itself, and all of the members of Knesset, like Oded Fohr, go back to the public to ask for another mandate. Over 100 days to go till the elections, and of course that's plenty of time for Israelis to make up their minds or change their minds on who to vote for. So let's take a look at one fresh poll from last night by Panels Politics for the Ma'ariv paper. The biggest party with 30 seats, Israel's ruling right-wing nationalist party, the Likud. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hoping for a fourth consecutive win. Coming second with 13 seats, a party that doesn't have a name yet and hasn't even been officially announced. Former military chief Benny Gantz hoping to be the big surprise with a new centrist party, although no one knows what its agenda is. Third place with 11, centrist Yesh Atid, led by Yair Lapid. Its support barely moving from last time thanks to the apparent entry of Benny Gantz into politics. Joint fourth place with 11 seats, Naftali Bennett's religious nationalist Jewish Home Party, identified with the Settler movement, and a coalition of small Arab parties, the joint list led by Ayman Odeh. And tumbling to only 9 seats is the left-wing Zionist Union, a merger of the historic Labour Party with Tzipi Livni, and then a trail of smaller parties making up the rest. Israel's deeply fragmented political system. Ultra-Orthodox United Torah Judaism and Shas on 7 and 4 apiece. Left-wing Meretz on 6. Centre-right Kulanu of Finance Minister Moshe Kahlon on 6. Right-wing nationalist Yisrael Beitenu on 5. And a new unnamed party, another unnamed party by Yisrael Beitenu Breakaway on 6. So what does that mean? Well, it gives a majority to the right-wing and religious bloc with 63 seats, and the centre-left bloc plus the Arabs on only 57. But that doesn't give Netanyahu an automatic majority, because with a potential criminal indictment hanging above his head, there is no guarantee that the right-wing bloc will fall into line. And here to make some sense of that is our diplomatic correspondent, Eli Hohenberg. Eli, a long time to go till the elections. Israelis notoriously fickle, many making up their minds as they go into the polling booths. But these are the starting lines. So what do they tell us about how this election is going to shape up?
And as we speak, Elon, 2 more new parties that were already announced to be formed. So we're going to see even further inner bloc cannibalism in the center left or soft right. And the bottom line is this. All recent polls, that one including even a fresh one that is coming out just now, all indicate a very similar situation. Even if the big explosion of the coming elections, the Benny Gantz joining politics, will not change the overall political landscape much. We're talking mainly about inner bloc cannibalism and not about...
And that's the big question of this election. Is there anything that could shift votes from the right to the left? Maybe that's going to be the indictment that could be presented against the Prime Minister, those criminal indictments.